Okay, welcome to chapter 2 in our series on conquer worry and anxiety. I wanted to do this whole series outside, but it is still raining outside. And so there's a lot going on out there. I thought, all right, I'm just going to find a little nook in the office. So chapter 2, how to feel happy and present, starts with a quote. I love the first part of this quote. It says, "A thought is harmless unless we believe it. It's not our thoughts, but the attachment to our thoughts that cause suffering." I like that first line. A thought is harmless unless we believe it. It reminds me of seeing Dr. Amen on a podcast that I enjoy watching, which is the Ed Milet podcast. Those two did a great job in the podcast of really hitting some of these core concepts that you and I are talking about. But one thing Ed said is, I think he was in his 40s or he said his late 30s, that it was finally the moment he realized he doesn't have to believe everything he thinks. And I remember it was maybe not that late in my life, but it was definitely a lot later than I would like it to be. That just because I think it doesn't mean I have to believe it. A thought is harmless unless we believe it. Everything that comes to your head does not have to have a belief built on it. Important to learn. And Dr. Amen really is highlighting here in the opening of this chapter that you got to maintain your emotional center, which comes down to one simple word: discipline. Discipline. We got to be disciplined to maintain that emotional center. It says on page 36, developing the habit of accurate, honest, and disciplined thinking is essential to overcoming worry and anxiety. So a habit of accurate, honest, and disciplined thinking. We got to think about what we are thinking about. I did note on the bottom of this page, it says studies show that people who have the most screen time, TV, texting, video games, social media, have a higher incidence of feeling unhappy. So there's a correlation there. We all kind of get into that, oh, I'm bored. Let me pull up an app and scroll through it. But does that make us happy? There's a lot of other things we could be doing, right? We could be reading a hard copy book. We could be spending time with a family member. We could be doing something besides scrolling because, as we all know, it doesn't increase our happiness. It usually leaves us in the comparison trap or in the frustration trap, feeling like what are we doing with our life because we're looking at everybody else's highlight reel. So, put the screen down and enjoy the world around you. It's one way we can beat worry and anxiety. He then goes on to say on page 38 that, unfortunately, a negative perspective is more contagious than a positive one. In fact, our language is not exempt. 62% of the words in the English dictionary connotate negative emotions, and only 32% express positive ones. What does that mean? It means negativity is all around us. Let that sink in for a minute. You've got to be intentional in your thought life to focus on the positive. It's not just going to happen. He goes on to say that bad news is quickly stored in the brain to keep us safe. It's part of our survival mechanism, but positive experiences have to be held in the consciousness for more than 12 seconds before they stay with us. This is why the habit of gratitude is so important. Thinking about the good, thinking about what you are grateful for, because it holds that thought for enough time for it to be burned in our brain. You don't have to look far for negative experiences. They, as we've seen here, they're all around us. But you do have to work hard to keep the positive ones at the front of your mind, to think about what you're thinking about. Because automatic negative thoughts is what he gets into next. Automatic, right? They just come. Automatic negative thoughts. And he uses this metaphor of automatic negative thoughts, ants, to little ants, like little black and red ants. He gives you the illustration of a picnic. If you have a single ant at a picnic, say it's a couple's romantic picnic, not a huge deal. It's one ant, right? You have 3 or 4 ants, okay, it's a little inconvenient. But you have 20 to 30 ants, you're going to have to pick this picnic up and move somewhere else. Well, that's kind of how it is in our mind. You got one automatic negative thought. Who said you could do that? Right? Who said you could do that? Who said you could accomplish that? You got one thought, just deal with that thought. You got a few thoughts? Who said you could do that? Do you know how worthless you are? You know you'll never amount to anything? Okay, now we're starting to have a little problem here in our mind. We have 20 or 30 of those thoughts. And play that out for a minute. Think about your thought life during the day. You start having a lot of those thoughts, yeah, that can be really, really bad. And he says that the more you allow ants to stick around in your head, the more they will mate, and other ants come about by that process. They produce offspring that drive anxiety, depression, anger, and relationship turmoil. That's a problem. The multiplication of automatic negative thoughts in your mind. So how do we beat it? What's the strategy? Well, he goes on to say, whenever you feel sad, mad, nervous, or out of control, write down your automatic negative thoughts and talk back to them. Talk back to them. Identify the thought and talk back to it. I'm worthless. I'm not worthless. I have so many gifts and talents. I have so much to give to the world. Talk back to it. Have a conversation with it. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but you've got to identify it and talk back to it. And every day you got to renew your mind. He goes through Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You can't renew your mind one time and then you're fine. Every day you got to get in the process. I've got a morning routine, which I guard every day to get in and to renew my mind and to get ready for the day, to clear out all those old automatic negative thoughts that might have been left over, and to focus on what the day is going to hold and how my mindset is walking into it. He then goes on to identify a bunch of different types of ants. There's 7 different types he shows in here. We don't have time to go through all of these ants, but we'll go through 2 or 3 of them. The first is the all or nothing ant. This is thinking that things are either all good or all bad. And these kind of ants make you feel sorry for yourself. The all or nothing ant thinks in absolutes, words like always, never, none, nothing, everyone, every time. Right? Have you ever thought that? Every time we do this, it goes bad. Everyone doesn't like me. Those are all or nothing ants. And the key to overcoming these type of ants is to stop thinking in absolute terms. No, it's not that everyone doesn't like you. These 4 people don't like you, right? In fact, a lot of times I don't like anybody at work. We're just taking it personal. So you can't use the words all and never and everyone. You watch those absolutes. What you want to do is start questioning these ants. It's going to send them packing, is what he says. He says it's going to take them away because you realize that it isn't these big, broad numbers. It's just an individual. It's just a person. It's just an experience. It's just something that didn't go right. And it doesn't become some big, scary monster when it's all or nothing. Number 2 is just the bad ants. This is where you can't see anything good. You have an experience. You have something that happens at work. There's some good in everything, but you don't see the good. All you see is the bad. It says its beady eyes, this ant, its beady eyes zoom in on the mistakes and problems, and it fills your head with failure, frustration, and sadness. Because it's all you think about is the bad stuff. There's no positive experience you see. You only see the negatives. And focusing on the negatives release brain chemicals that make you feel bad. And in doing that, you reduce brain activity in the areas that are involved with, catch these three things: self-control, judgment, and planning. You're reducing your brain function in those areas. So what does that mean? You're going to make poor decisions. You're going to be indecisive because you're only focused on the bad. This is where thinking of the things that you're grateful for, thinking of the things that you learned from these experiences, thinking about how you're better off after the experience. When you focus on these things, you can start to see the positive in every situation. You know the old phrase, every situation has a silver lining. He says on page 46, putting a positive spin on your thoughts leads to positive changes in your brain. and that's going to make you happier and smarter. So true. What is the positive in the situation? I'll sum up this with the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. He says, whenever you feel sad, nervous, or out of control on page 55, write down your automatic negative thoughts. Write them down. Number 2, identify the ant species. If you get the book, you can see all 7 or listen to the Ed Mylett podcast. And then number 3, you want to ask yourself if you're 100% sure that these thoughts are true. Are you 100% sure that these thoughts are true? And then number 4, redirect your thoughts to focus on what is true. Is this 100% true? Okay, what is true? And then redirect those thoughts. The wisdom of Paul, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. You see, those were all positive words. Those are the things we should focus on. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Philippians 4:8. That's where our mind needs to go. Needs to go in the positive direction. I'll finish with this. He says, when you direct your thoughts to today is going to be a great day, your brain will help you uncover the reasons why it is so. I used to wake the kids up each morning before school when they were toddlers, and the first thing I would say is, I'm alive, I'm awake, I feel great. It sets the tone for how you're going to take on the day and leaves you feeling more energized and not in the cycle of negativity. Well, I hope that helped. Hope there was something in there for you. Tomorrow, you and I are going to look at chapter 3, Staying Positive. I'll see you then.